Okay, so welcome to EDM Production Live 10 Live. Today I want to talk about how to use the time stretch in Ableton Live properly. Because, for example, if you record a loop, what I just did, look at this little loopy here. I just want to, tweak it a little because for me it is a little too low in tone. So I just like to transpose it up, for example, 6 semitones. But when I do that, I achieve, lots of glitches, which I can solve by clicking on this stuff. So the grain will not play back and forth, only in one direction. So this will solve, and this will eliminate all those glitchy stuff. But the problem here is that the sound turns into a very stuttery kind of stuff. So there are several ways to fix that. For example, let me duplicate this channel and explain on it. So for example, there are several ways to fix that. For example, select all the stems or all the parts of the loop and click on Complex Pro. So right now, first I need to pull back the formants to match the sound exactly like what we had in the previous on the previous tracks. When I use the beats, what is not warping mode but time stretching mode. So if I use the Complex Pro, the glitchiness is and the stuttery sound is faded away. But the problem here is that I killed all the transient and the whole full sound turns into a very muddy kind of sound, what I don't really like because, this Complex Pro is a very, very nice algorithm, but still not perfect. So somehow we need to combine these two things to achieve a very punchy and very clean result. But at the same time, I want to get rid of all the, these little cuts and muted notes between the transients, basically, what the beats algorithm creates. So what I found out is let's make the first beat like with the beats algorithm with one directional granular preserve, or how to call it. I don't know how to call this. With all the glitches and another glitches with the stuttery kind of stuff. So for example, if I resample it, you will see what we need to do here, because you can see these gaps. Okay, so we have these gaps. So somehow we need to fill up these gaps, because all the stuff, all the other places and all the other parts of this sound is very cool, because it is it's not muddy, it's not grainy because of the time stretching algorithm. It has a transient, it has everything basically what we need. The only problem here is these gaps. Okay, so somehow we need to solve this problem. And the best thing, I think, what we can do here is to keep two instances of this same loop. For example, set the first two beats and, okay, I resample that, but the result is the same if I use beats on one directional grain stuff, and then use another instance where we use the same, but this time with Complex Pro, with the formants pulled back. And of course, both of them should be transposed 6 semitones up, or, they both need to be the same. It doesn't need to be 6, it can be anything, but they should be the same. So on the second one, we want to use the second one to fill up the gaps here. So what you could do is do it manually, like deleting it, make a little fade, deleting it, etc. It is very time consuming. So what if we sidechained it instead of this? So what I set here up is a glue compressor, and on the sidechain we should select, let's call it 276A, and this to 276B, and the input should be 272A, and we don't need too much attack and release time, but we need very heavy ratio and threshold, and of course we need to tweak the makeup too. And what it will do is when it receives this stuttery kind of signal, it would dox the sound of the version where we use the Complex Pro on. So basically what we leave and what we have here only is these little gaps here. Of course it won't duck entirely this sound, this part of the sound, but I think we get a very nice result. So let's try this on, and before we do that I want to group it. And we need to name and set everything up properly. So we have this group. Come on. And let's see what we get now. You may adjust the volume of the Complex Pro version, you know, the gap filler version basically. And now let's compare what we get when we don't have the gap filling version. So this is a stuttery version, and this is the gap filling version. We need to pull back the threshold a lot more. This is not the perfect example, and I don't know why. Previously, on a previous example or a previous project or group, it worked a lot better. So let me show it to you now. So with the side chaining, although I set up everything the same, it sounds a lot better. You know, it ducks the original, it ducks the gap filler a lot better based on the original sound, the beat sound. And we still have these beautiful transients and beautiful, not muddy kind of sound from the original transposed up loop, which is very good. You know, you have a lot better and a lot cleaner result using this method than if you use, for example, a simple Complex Pro or a Beats, even if you use, for example, this back and forth grainy kind of stuff. So it is it's very exciting, I believe, for me at least. It's very exciting because, you know, you can create the very, very nice loops, and you can transpose your stuff up a lot better. For example, I remember I saw I sorry, but I don't remember the name of the software which was made to timestretch and, you know, pitch up stuff like pretty well. It was a very complex algorithm, and it made very very nice results. But somehow I still heard some glitches, and I still heard some muddiness on the sound. And I believe this is a lot better. It's a lot better solution for drums and percussion. For vocals, that is totally fine. I mean, using the Complex Pro is totally fine, you know, because it is a very organic kind of thing. Probably you won't hear too much artifacts on the sound when you use the Complex Pro and just, you know, push out the transpose. It is very good for that. But for drums, I think it is very important to use like a similar method like this, because, you know, you still need to contain or maintain the transients, which I believe the most important part of the drums. So if you enjoy this, I'm very glad. If you have any questions, I can see that we have 4 guys here. I know this is not the best time to stream live stream because most of the American guys are still sleeping. But never mind, it's their problem. Next time stay up a little earlier or wake up a little earlier, don't they? So if you have any questions, guys, just drop here in the chat. I am free and I am glad to answer your questions. If not, then I'm glad you have been with me, and see you next time, guys. Okay, bye bye.